Hello guys and welcome back to Car Obsession. Now I don't normally start a car review in this manner, but I need to explain something. So the day I shot the review of the car you're about to see, I had my camera stolen. In fact, it is the camera I'm using right now. It is a bit of a long story, so I won't go through it now, but I was able to get the camera back. Which is great. That in itself is a small miracle that I'm very grateful for. Sadly, however, I wasn't able to get the SD card back, and when the camera was stolen, it was pretty much at the end of my day when I'd done all of my filming, so I lost a very large chunk of footage. Now, before you ask, I wasn't able to go out and refilm it because the day I filmed the video was the day before the car went back, so yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare, but it is what it is. So this review won't be to the usual standard that you are used to on my channel, and what I've done is something that I very rarely do, and that is use B-roll from the manufacturer. Now they're, car brands, they produce their own B-roll and it's very high quality. And the reason why I don't use it normally is because it will stick out in a sore thumb in my videos. My videos aren't poor quality, but you're going to notice a difference between what I film and what an actual professional car manufacturer is able to film. And that's why I don't use the footage, because there's a clear difference between what I can film and what they can film. But for this video, because I'm short on footage, I am using some footage directly from Ford. I hope you enjoyed the video. It hasn't come out how I wanted it to, but hey, at least I've been able to produce a video and I've been able to get my camera back. So I am counting myself lucky. Anyway, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hello and welcome to the brand new Ford Focus ST Estate, a car I believe could be all of the performance car you'll ever need. Why? Let me explain. Well, for starters, it has a big boot. Open it up and you'll be greeted by 608 litres worth of space, which is more than a Golf R estate and more than a Leon Cupra estate, but it is a little bit smaller than an Octavia VRS estate, although it's only 2 litres, which, let's face it, is a big Coke bottle. Other fizzy pop is available. The opening for the boot is wide, it is practical, the load lip is low, and there's no nasty step into the boot. So if you want to load bigger, heavier items or dogs, this should be very practical indeed. However, if you want even more space, you can of course fold down the 60/40 rear seats, which is very easy. Once you've done that, you will get 1,653 litres worth of space, which is gargantuan. In fact, I was able to fit in a double mattress in here yesterday, so very practical indeed. However, what good is a performance car without a decent engine? Thankfully, Ford has fitted a decent engine. The old car had a 2-litre turbocharged petrol, whereas the new car has a 2.3-litre turbocharged petrol. It is in fact related to the one used in the outgoing Focus RS and the Mustang, but of course it has a little less power. However, I wouldn't say it's exactly lacking for it, because it has 280 horsepower along with a whopping 420 Newton meters of torque. This power is mated to the front wheels via a 6-speed manual gearbox. If you want 4-wheel drive, I'm afraid you can't have it, but if you yearn for an automatic, there is some good news. There is an 8-speed automatic coming in a few months. Time to talk about performance. This car will hit 62 miles per hour in 5.8 seconds, which is a considerable improvement on the old car, and the top speed is 155. Right, enough talking, let's do some driving. The Focus ST has a choice of 3 driving modes: slippery, normal or sport. However, if you go for the performance pack, you do get a track mode as well, which is for racetrack use only. Interestingly, on Ford's configurator, the performance pack is only available for the hatchback. However, I have it on this estate version, which is a little bit odd. I'm not going to complain though, because the performance pack, it gives you a few extra goodies, and for the petrol version it is only a £250 option, so why wouldn't you? Might make sure I'm good to go. And once again, pin that throttle. Oh, a little pop from the exhaust there. Another one. Oh, a little bit of gunfire at the rear. Oh, I love it. It is a bit antisocial, but it's also really good. It is addictive, it really is. And cars like this should be able to put a smile upon your face. And look at me, I'm beaming from ear to ear. I have loved my time with the Focus ST, but I don't think you can tell, can you? Anyway, I've got sidetracked, I do apologise. So, yes, the performance pack for the petrol version, it is only £250, so why wouldn't you? That gives you the track driving mode, rev matching, launch control, and it also gives you a shift indicator, so a light comes up when it's time for you to change gear. But most importantly, the performance pack also gives you the multicolour ambient lighting, which for any performance car is a must, isn't it? Why have Ford put that as part of their performance pack? Who buys a Focus ST and really yearns for ambient lighting? Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm not here to talk about the lighting. I'm here to talk about how this car drives, and in short, it is pretty phenomenal. As soon as you start, attacking a B road, the price of this car does quickly escape your mind. Now, this car isn't cheap, so if you go for the petrol estate, like I have here, the starting price is £33,095. Now, you do get a lot of kit for that, but this is a fast Ford. Therefore, I would want it to be just a little bit cheaper to represent better value. However, you do get a lot for your money, so swings and roundabouts, I suppose it does work out. However, I would be willing to sacrifice a few pieces of equipment to bring the cost down, but that's merely my opinion. As I mentioned earlier, the petrol ST estate starts from £33,095, but what do you get as standard? Well, quite a lot, which is just as well given the asking price. The ST is now only available as one trim level and not three, and within that you get the following features: ST styling, 19-inch alloys, adaptive LED headlights, LED rear lights, eLSD, front and rear parking sensors, reversing camera, B&O sound system, Recaro sport seats, heated and electronically adjustable front seats, heated steering wheel, keyless entry, 8-inch touchscreen with DAB radio, Bluetooth, navigation and smartphone connectivity, dual zone climate control, and there's also a good amount of safety kit as well. Now, when I drove the hatchback, I complained, well, not so much a complaint, but I did say that it felt a bit subdued in here. I think I must have been talking rubbish then, because yeah, okay, the engine noise isn't really prominent in here, but as you get higher through the rev range, you can definitely notice that noise. Oh, it's a really nice burble. Now, yes, the sound is pumped into the cabin using a sound symposer. Ford is no stranger to... Ford is no stranger to doing this. However, I don't mind a little bit of trickery. If it sounds like that, who cares if it's fake? It sounds glorious. So this car has a clever technology called anti-lag. It is inspired by the Ford GT, and in essence what it does is when you lift off the accelerator in sport mode or track mode, it keeps the turbo spinning. Therefore, when you put your foot back down, the turbo is ready to go and he gets no turbo lag. That means the Focus ST is super responsive. The pickup of the engine is just, it's just ready to go. And it feels really meaty, and that's one thing I said in my first drive video of the hatchback version. This car, it feels chunky, it feels meaty, it feels brawny. It feels absolutely fantastic. I just love the way how the engine, it feels muscular. I think it's about time I speak about the gearbox. The 6-speed manual gearbox in the Focus ST is sublime. Is it quite as good as a Honda Civic Type R? No, I think the Honda just about wins the gear change competition, if there were one. But even so, the Focus ST, the change is slick, it's mechanical, it's got a nice weight to it. Yeah, it gives you a nice reassurance when you slip it into whichever cog you want it to. Yeah, this is a good gearbox. There is a little bit of torque steer to deal with. Now, I wouldn't say it's too overpowering, like putting a Ghost Chili into a curry, but at the same time, it is noticeable. Would it put me off buying the car? No, but if you don't like torque steer, then this may not be the car for you. However, I wouldn't say it's too bad, but it is there. Speaking of the steering, it is so direct. I have been surprised with how direct it is, bearing in mind this is a big estate car, but all you need to do is simply flick your wrist and the car is so willing to change direction. And bearing in mind the size of the car, it feels nimble. This car, it's like a boxer. It's light on its feet, but it can still pack a punch. It's practical too. Not only does it have a big boot, but it also offers a good amount of space in the rear, and it has plenty of cubby holes, so it's just every bit as easy to live with as a standard Focus. Once again, it is time for Ask Aaron, the segment in which you guys get to ask me questions about whichever car I'm testing. So, time to do it for the brand new Ford Focus ST. Got my notepad here. What do you like about it most? I think it's just how brawny it feels, how meaty. This feels like a very muscular car, so yes, that's what I like about it most. Why is it so loved by chavs? I don't know. If you really want to know, I'd recommend going down to your local McDonald's car park around midnight, and I'm sure there'll be someone there to answer your question. Size of the boot, 0 to 60 mpg. Well, the boot I've already covered, it's 608 litres. I've already covered the 0 to 62, that's 5.8 seconds. And the mpg, who cares? It's a performance car, it's irrelevant. Joking aside, the mpg on a combined run is 39.8 mpg. Is there any of the torque steer that plagued the old STs? I'm afraid yes, there is. So the new Focus ST, it does have a bit of torque steer. Is it overpowering? No, but it is noticeable. So if that sort of thing puts you off, then the Focus ST may not be for you. Nice car. What does not work is inside and the layout. Now, I kid you not, I've written that question word for word. A quick tip, if you're going to send me a question, don't do it when you're blind drunk, because that is a riddle, not a question. But I think what they're trying to ask is there anything about the inside layout which doesn't work? Well, this is of course based on a Focus, therefore it is practical, sensible and easy to use. I hope that answers your question, sorry, your riddle. And the last question, when manufacturers say electronic limited slip differential, is it the same as the older generation where it just breaks any wheel spin, i.e. torque vectoring, or an actual LSD with electronic gubbins? I'd say it's more of the latter. Now, I would do my best to try and explain this system in a way that doesn't confuse you or make your brain hurt. But basically what this system has, it has hydraulic clutches and dynamic sensors which are able to detect when wheel spin is likely to happen and address it. Whereas a mechanical limited slip diff, what that does, it will wait for wheel spin to happen, then address it. So in that sense, I would say, to put it simply, this system is proactive, whereas a mechanical limited slip diff is reactive. And Ford states that this system works better, so I trust their judgment. Anyway, that is the end of Ask Aaron. Stay tuned for the next instalment. The ride in the Focus ST, it is firm, but this is, a sporty car, so you have to expect such a ride. I would argue something like a Volkswagen Golf, a GTI or a Golf R, that would be more compliant. I think from a ride perspective, that would be the easier car to live with. But would I say this is desperately uncomfortable? No, I wouldn't. It is firm, yes. Firm enough to the point where you wouldn't want to drive it every day? In my opinion, no. Now, speaking of ride, that kind of links in with refinement somewhat. Refinement is pretty good. This does have 19-inch alloys, therefore there is a little bit of tyre noise coming into the cabin, but the wind noise is pretty well controlled, and overall, for the type of car this is pretty refined. Is it enough to beat a Volkswagen Golf? I don't think so, but I don't think it's too far behind either. But this will be a good test for the ride because this road is pretty beaten. It is quite jiggly, but for the most part, it is soaking it up quite well. And I like that about the Focus ST. This is a really good all-rounder. Now, some of you will say, well, yes, the Golf R is a very good all-rounder. Yeah, it is, but I would argue this will be the more enjoyable car to drive, and it's cheaper. And you can have a manual gearbox. Yeah, you can't have one of those in a Golf R estate. No, no, no. So I would argue this is the better driver's car. Right, time to attack some twisties. Let's see what this thing can do in the corners. Right, on the brakes feel fantastic. We've got nice feedback to them, a nice bite to them. Through the corners, there's very little body lean, and the steering is super direct, more direct than I was expecting, bearing in mind this is a big estate car. For what this is, this feels pretty nimble. This thing is a rocket ship, it really is. There's fantastic grip through the corners. Ford, the work you've done on this car is sublime. Oh, if I had the money, this would be in my garage. Oh, grip through there. You can really feel the front end just, digging in for grip. And that's thanks to the fantastic Michelin tyres and of course that electronic limited slip diff. The Recaro seats, they hold you in place really well. They are supportive but comfortable. And unlike other Fast Fords in the past, they're not set too high. So Fast Fords of old, you'd get in them and you'd always feel like you're sat too high. There's no such complaint in the new Focus ST because it actually feels like I'm driving a sports car. Now guys, get a listen of this. That's naughty. So, time to sum up the Focus ST estate. It's a car that I believe ticks many boxes, and whilst I had the car, I found very little that I didn't like about it. I think the price may be the only thing that would put me off, but then again, you do get a lot included, so I suppose it balances out. It's fast, looks great, handles well, and is no less practical to live with than a standard Focus, and that's why I think it really is all of the performance car you'll ever need. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If so, be sure to like, subscribe, and to ring my bell so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.